Sorry I'm late. Hey everyone, it's Gavin Pryor, and thank you so much for joining me on this very special day. It's Tales from the Horrorweb's 5th anniversary! And guess what? We got a few announcements coming up really soon because I don't want to keep you guys waiting. It- because I have no idea what to do. But we're about to get the party started. And I know Cyber Phantom is, well, not sure who's going to be there. No, I think it's time to send a message. All right, let me send a little quick Twitter message before I get started. Can you believe it's been like? Can you believe it's been like 5 years since I've made an episode? All right, so this is a little bit of a presentation. I'm sure everyone will be focused. Just you know. All right, I gotta stop using filler words. I have no idea what's going on. Well, if anything, I would okay, never mind that. So, before we get started with the presentation, I just want to say that I want to say thank you so much for showing up. I mean, okay, so we got to get this started. Let's begin. Anyways, we got to get started on this presentation because we have a lot to celebrate. So, all right. That's really okay. Now, let's begin this presentation. We have so much to do and so little time. All right. We have so little to do and so much time. Nope. Scratch that. Reverse it. Man, I really love this Willy Wonka reference. uh, anyways, let's begin this presentation. Bop, 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 bop. Okay. Are we ready? Now, I don't want to get into full detail, so let's begin this. Unfortunately, uh, I'm unable to use the slides feature in StreamYard, so this will do. All right, let me activate picture in picture. All right, I gotta edit this. So hang in there. All right, let's begin this. Here we go. So, this is a presentation that will explain the origin, the lore, the history, and of course, we do have a few new and of course, we do have a couple of news at the end of this presentation. I promise you're going to be surprised. Yes, you will be indeed surprised. Here we go. So, for those of you who are wondering, what is Tales from the Horror Web? Now, for those of you who don't know, Tales from the Horror Web is a horror anthology series that is released on July 20th, 2018, exclusively on DeviantArt. Now all of the episodes contains a different story taking place in a different setting with different characters, different monsters, different ghosts, everything. Of course, a new episode is different, so don't expect the stories to be the same thing. Although sometimes I do want to push the envelope here and just say I want to make more episodes. Anyways, now I got inspiration from Goosebumps, American Horror Story, Channel Zero, The Twilight Zone, Are You Afraid of the Dark, and Black Mirror to create this series. Now, I would think of some things that could help me with some ideas for the next episode. So, whenever I find an idea, I usually need to work on it because otherwise, that's pretty much going to be a pain in the neck. I mean, can you imagine how hard it is for me to write a story? And of course, who's your host for this series? Ah, yes, Cyber Phantom. Now, he is your storyteller, my version of the Crypt Keeper, if you will. Of course, he does tell a lot of stories, and you'll never know what story he'll make next because that's a little bit of a mystery here. Now, some of you are no, okay. So, some of you are wondering, what's the horror web? Ah, that's a good question here, friend. You see, the horror web is actually hidden from the internet, and it's where all the stories have been shared. Now this is really good because I get to explain the origin of this. How fun! Now, it was firstly discovered in the year 1996 by internet historians. Now, we don't know where it come from, but there's a lot of rumors saying that it was created within the depths of hell, but others say that it was created after the 90s brought the websites to be popular. Now, now how did it all begin? Now, the horror web was actually not a website before. It was actually a AOL chat room created in 1994. Now, they would talk about their favorite horror films, novels, TV shows, and music they listened to. Now, they're also allowed to share some stories they created. Although the run was successful, it was the popular chat room that everyone could hop into. Then, in 1996, the chat room was turned into a website so everyone can share their stories. It's really interesting to me that it was an AOL chat room and I wasn't aware. I'm putting away my laser pointer because I have a mouse. Oh, what the Forgot that laser pointer was still there. And you want to meet its creator? Okay. There he is, Cyber Phantom. now, let's see. I've been I've been crafting to now. Some of you don't know his origin, but now you're about to for the first time. Now, so here's how it began. In 1982, several computer programmers have created him as part of an experiment to tell horror stories for anyone. Now, everyone would usually would be chosen to participate in the. Hold on, let me start again. So now, in 1982, he was part of an experiment by several computer programmers. His task was to tell several horror stories to anyone who has been chosen to participate. Now, according to the test results, anyone who listens to his stories would actually be amazed and scared. Of course, this sparked a generation of horror fans. Yep, they did become horror fans. Well, some of them, but not all of them. That is until the year 1989 when they abandoned the project, and as a result, he decided to escape to the internet where he can find himself a new home. Now, as time progresses, he decided to create the website so he could continue to share the stories that he creates. Now, to this day, his website is still active. So, that's just really great. Now, I do want to be honest. I did come up with this origin because, well, originally I thought of a good idea that the horror web is a website, but it's hidden from the internet. So, I'm going to reveal to you how you can get in. Keep in mind. So, basically, you can use any browser you want, and well, you're there. You can get there through an invite, and you'll be able to hear so many fascinating horror stories. That's going to chill your bones, dude. All right. Now, okay, now it's time for the history of Tales from the Horror Web. Let's get into it. Now, let's see how it all started. So, back then in 2015, I was a fan of horror after reading some creepy pastas. Now, the first one I ever heard about was Slenderman, and it's by far one of my favorite monsters. But actually, my favorite one would actually be the No End House. Now, this creepypasta is about a man who walks into a haunted house, and get this, there's a prize of $100. So he goes in, and every room he experiences is scarier than the last. Oh, and by the way, it just became a season of Channel Zero. How cool. Now, this wasn't the first time I discovered horror because back in 2006, I discovered something called Final Destination 3 because, well, there was this one roller coaster scene that I'd watched and it was pretty scary. Now, I wasn't the intended audience for this one back then because, well, I was too young to see those. Anyways, but when I was old enough, I thought some ideas of what horror films I might be able to see. My first one in the movie theater was actually 2018's Slender Man. I didn't know this was a bad film back then, and but I still enjoyed it. And I also was interested in seeing horror TV shows For example, my first ever horror TV show would actually be Channel Zero because when I was 16 years old, I watched it the first time, but then back in 2017, I watched my first season of American Horror Story, which was Cult. Well, okay, maybe that's not my first ever horror TV show, but I do have one. It's called Goosebumps. Now, back in 2017, I first heard about it while I was watching Cartoon Network, whether it be Chowder, Camp Lazlo, Powerpuff Girls, or whatever Cartoon Network show. Now, I've only seen half of the episodes, like You Can't Scare. Now, I've only seen half of the episodes, so I didn't see the rest, like the beginning, the middle, the end. And some of the episodes are called You Can't Scare Me and Attack of the Jack O' Lanterns. And back then in the school library, I actually saw some books that actually got me wondering, should I read this? At first, I was like, no, I don't want to read those. Those are extremely scary. Oh no. I'm not seeing that. No way. And then, you know what? I decided to watch it because years later, it was on Netflix. And you want to know my favorite episode? Attack of the Mutant. I did explain this on a previous TikTok. And there's also another series called Are You Afraid of the Dark? And let me tell you, this anthology is the best. Pure 90s nostalgia. Now, the first episode I ever saw, it was called Tale of Station 109.1. However, I do have a favorite episode called Tale of the Night Shift, and well, I've also watched some other anthologies. You named it: Freddy's Nightmares, Night Visions, even some of the ones like The Twilight Zone. I mean, it's basically The Twilight Zone for kids. I really did enjoy that. Now, now I've gathered so much inspiration from a lot of TV shows and movies that I decided to make my own anthology series. So, and what am I thinking? Ooh, let's make it Goosebumps, but with a more sinister touch. I don't know what to call it, but my original thought, believe it or not, was actually Stories of Evil. Yeah, that was its original name. Of course, I didn't want this to become the name of it and called it Internet 666. And that did not sit well. No, I felt a little bit uneasy. So I decided to think about all the internet horror stories I've read and thought up of a better name. And then I thought, why not just go with Tales from the Horrorweb? And I was like, okay, let's do that. All right. Now, it's a bit like creepy pasta, but if it's an anthology series, because oh, and believe it or not, the horror web was actually a reference to World Wide Web. Nowadays, you can type in websites without www dot. Now, here's what I came up for my first episode. Now, I wanted to do a remake of. I wanted to do my take on Phantom of the Opera. So, as soon as my this idea popped up, I thought I would give it a name called The Midnight Performance. Now, if you don't know what that story is about, it's about a college theater group that is doing a play when all of a sudden they've encountered a mysterious figure who is ruining the show for everyone. When the first episode came out, um I didn't get many views as I would hope for, but hey, you know what? I do I am learning on how I could write better. And sometimes it would be a bit slow on because I would end up procrastinating, and usually I don't pay attention as I often do. I'm sometimes a little slow because I need to think up some ideas that are in here and see what the characters could do, see what monsters I could make up, and all that. Yeah, all that. All right, now for the host of the series. Now, before I made all the episodes, originally I wanted to do one with that storyteller, but you know what? I think it's time I hire one. But how do I do it? Now, it all started when I was creating my first original character. Now, I did give him a leather jacket, fedora, and even a hook on his hand, on one of his hands, plus some jeans and black shoes. Now, I'm not sure what to call him at first, but I did decided that the name shall be Cyber Phantom. He's actually inspired by the Crypt Keeper and Rod Serling, who, believe it or not, is the host and director of my favorite TV show, The Twilight Zone. Now, he is comedic sometimes, but can be quite the fright for everyone. Now, I do actually have fun with this character because it's a little bit of inspiration, imagination, and creativity. Now, I'm always open to so many challenges because it might come a long way, and still, I could master some new techniques that I could use for my future art projects that I may have. You know, I just really love this idea. All right, so this is the original version of Cyber Phantom. Now, originally, he did not actually have a leather jacket, but he actually wore a black fabric coat. That's right, a fabric coat to be specific. And I also added a white band right here. So, as you can see right over there, let me put on my laser pointer. See, this is a white band on his fedora, which people mistake for a top hat, believe it or not. Of course, there's also a black fabric coat because that's what I originally had in mind. And check it out. His hook is on his left hand, not his right hand. I think that's where the hook originally was, and to be honest, I kind of it looks a bit like a sloppy waffle. Hmm, that kind of actually reminds me of sloppy waffles. Oh, look at the word Cyber Phantom right over there. Cyber Phantom. Of course, that's what he originally looked like. Now look at the Cyber Phantom that is currently used. Yes, that's right. So I decided to move his hook to his right hand because I thought this would be a much better appearance for him. Because originally, his hook was on his left hand, and I thought I actually give him some longer hair because back then with this one, it used to be short, but now it's longer. Kind of reminds me of Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Anyways, I do also want to tell you that I also give him some red irises on his eyes for more detail. And now he wears a black leather jacket. How cool is that? Now, I originally used DeviantArt Miro for this one, but now I moved on from that and used Fire Alpaca that will be able to help me take my art to the next level. So, yeah, that's how it is. I'm about to upgrade my artwork. I no longer use DeviantArt Miro. All right, let's go. Okay, so this is where I say it. Now, a few years later, I did come up with a even cooler idea to announce new stories. I usually announce them on social media, but now I actually announce them in my new fan club Discord server. That's right. It's where I could it's where I show off some sneak peeks of brand new episodes before they come out, and also allows everyone to talk about their favorite episodes, post memes, and even suggest for new stories. How cool is that? In fact, I actually got an announcement video right now. Check it out. Hey everyone, it's Gavin Pryor, and I just want to let you all know that I have recently opened up a Tales from the Horrorweb fan club Discord server. If you join, you'll be able to get some exclusives. You'll be able to get some sneak peeks of our upcoming episodes, and of course, you get to suggest for a new episode there. It's pretty wonderful, if I do say so myself. If you want to join, link is in the description below. Well, that's it for now. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Oh, and when you get to the Tales from the Horrorweb Fan Club Discord server, tell them Cyber Phantom sent you. Okay. Okay, so my voice was cringe back then. Oh my gosh. But let's move on to Chiller on Delta Street, which is my first ever spin-off. Now, after watching American Horror Stories, I've decided to think about what spin-off I could pull off because for all I know, American Horror Stories is actually a spin-off of American Horror Story. So, I got started thinking about what spin-off I could pull off. I didn't know what to come up with at first, but after watching the Fear Street trilogy, I decided, you know what? Why not do my own take on this? And guess what? That's when I came up with Chiller on Delta Street. That's right, Chiller on Delta Street. Now, all three episodes actually take place in a fictional town of Wolf Spine, New York. Now, this is a fictional town, and yes, the Demon Syndicate are live in this town. And of course, there's also students from a local university who must do everything they can to either defeat them or at least survive before they become victims. On to the next slide. Now, for the first episode, I decided to make it take place during the film festival. Now, the film festival nightmare actually centers around some. Turns out the students were actually future filmmakers, so they're trying to run a film festival at a local cinemas to try to raise money for their experimental film. Well, that's until the Demon Syndicate decides to crash the party and turns it into a graveyard. Now, I actually got inspired by the 1991 film, which is called Popcorn. Now, this is a film about a group of film students who actually set up a movie theater to promote a film festival. That's right. They are promoting a film festival, and somehow there's a killer. I can't give much away about the film, so if you haven't watched it yet, you can go ahead and check it out. Now, I do enjoy some movies at a movie theater, but sometimes I do stay home and watch some classics. Some of the good ones I watched are They Live and House on Haunted Hill. And yes, this episode is a tribute to some of the classics with a lot some fun gimmicks. Well, the next part takes place in the 80s. And of course, it introduces us to Camp Starlight. Now, one camp counselor is having an en- now one camp counselor encounters the Demon Syndicate, and of course her friends too. They actually do whatever they can to survive, and what they do here is try to see if they could escape. Now, I did actually head to a real life summer camp back then. Back in the 2000s, there were a lot of fun activities. I made so many friends. Oh, and one time I actually was only allowed to slide instead of jump. One of the counselors told me, slide, don't jump. So I did. And I also went swimming. So it was a free open swim and it was kind of relaxing. I didn't want to go underwater, though. Besides, the pool may be too deep. And we also gather around a campfire and sang a bunch of songs. It was kind of fun. What's going on here? All right, now let's get on to the next slide. And yes, my childhood memories are also used for as inspiration. Now, the final part was called All Hallows Eve, and we're back with the students from Wolfspy University. This time, it's them versus the Demon Syndicate in the final battle. Now, it was a bit of a stretch, but I managed to be creative and see what ending. But, however, I'm basically reading this off from a slide, am I? Anyways, it was a little bit of a tire out, so I decided to see what creativity I could pull off to see what ending I get. Now, I can't spoil the ending, so if you didn't read the entire series, you can go ahead and check it out, but you can stay for the live stream if you want to. Now, some of the best villains I now the Demon Syndicate is actually by far the best villains I have ever made in the series, and I did enjoy myself creating this spin-off. How cool is that? All right. Now comes WVXP 27.9 FM, a series to accompany Chiller on Delta Street, except it's an audio drama series. Now, this is not in any way affiliated with any real radio broadcast stations because I didn't want to rip them off. Now, this is my first time I created audio only stuff that I could also do in the near future, but or in the foreseeable future if I prefer. And it actually has some references from some of the original Tales from the Horrorweb episodes because I thought that would be good. All right, so here's one of the episodes from October 8th, 2021. Here we go. You're listening to WVXP 27.9 FM, coming to you live from Wolf's Pine, New York. And a good evening to you. This is Mike Kruger with the Wolf's Pine Evening Hour on WVXP 27.9 FM. We're only 24 days away until Halloween. Looks like everybody has already bought themselves bags of candy for the big night. Much is quiet in this town right now, but whatever is the case, I am always in the know for some stuff. Anyways, we ask everyone this morning to phone in on the evening to share thoughts about Halloween on Wolf's Pine. Right now, we have a live caller, Adrian Hitchcock, who is a longtime Wolf's Pine resident and the shop owner of a Halloween superstore on Maple Avenue. How is everything going, Adrian?
Everything is going well, Mike. So far, we have sold over 100 costumes, masks, props, and animatronics in this store in 1 week. It seems like our business is going well.
Sounds great. I even went to your store to buy myself some supplies for my costume.
Oh, yeah, I kinda saw you out there. Did you buy anything?
Just some makeup and a few props I need. Can't tell you or the listeners what I am going as, though.
That's fine, but my guess is that you are probably going as an 80s slasher.
Well, it's why I have went as last year, but good guess, though.
Oh, and by the way, you happen to see those people in 80s slasher costumes the other day? I just saw them walk by the store last night at around 10:30 p.m.
I don't know. Maybe they are just some hooligans just having some fun.
They were even driving in a vintage RV. I don't know if they live there or not, but it is oftenly strange.
I saw the RV pass by at my house last night, so I had basically saw the same thing.
Guess I am not the only one. Anyways, I have to go now. I got some paperwork to do. Thanks for talking with me.
Well, folks, that was Adrian Hitchcock. No one else is on the line at this time, so let's move on with some exciting news that just came in from Wolf's Pine local cinemas. They have officially collaborated with some film students from Wolf's Pine University to bring you a triple feature horror and sci fi movie film festival just in time for the Halloween season. The film festival will consist of 3 films like The Terrifying Lunar Cult in Aromascope, Electric Eels from Pluto in Percepto, and Attack of the Mutant Wolves in 3D. These films will contain the gimmicks in which they will be recreated by the students to make them more thrilling. Tickets are on sale as of right now. More information will be updated at wolfspineuniversity.edu and wolfspinelocalcinemas.com. I will be keeping you up to date on the film festival as well. Coming up after our commercial break, a live rock and roll band will be playing for us in our live studio. Stay tuned. How about a little jazz to play us out? Want to take your career to the next level? Do you have the talents that you want to share? Then Wolf's Pine University is the place for you. Here, we offer a wide range of courses that will help you succeed in your future and your career path. Earn your bachelor's degree in one of those many areas like computer science, computer game design, criminal justice, graphic design, marketing, sociology, visual fine arts, psychology, communication, and many more. We also offer a variety of online classes too. So why wait? Join Wolf's Pine University today. So, to create this, I actually used Adobe Audition. It's my choice of software. time to talk about Double Trouble. So, Double Trouble is actually inspired by, well, actually not inspired by anything, but I did get inspired by American Horror Stories and Freddy's Nightmares, which is a series based on the Nightmare on Elm Street films. It's actually an anthology. So basically, I decided double the stories, two times the horror. I may have heard about the double whopper, the double quarter pounder with cheese. Oh, and there's all. Oh, and there's also double mint gum. So why not double the stories, two times the horror? That's right. I actually worked on this in July, and originally I wanted them to have one episode for each week. Then I decided, you know what? No, let me delay this and release them on October 26th through Halloween because I think I need to be a different person here. Ah, boy. Now, here are some of the themes I know. First up was called Night Shifts, and in the first one, we have a character named Erin who works at a pizza joint. And when she delivers a pizza to a house, strange things happen throughout the night. The next one, customer service, is actually inspired by the Black Phone. It's about a retail worker who has received a call from a dead customer who needs help to find her killer. Yeah, that's right. She's dead because she was murdered. Of course, none of that happened in real life. This is just make believe. So now, with Magic and Mischief, I decide to use Warlock City or call the story Warlock City. I forgot to say that. But I do want to say that this is interesting. So, a group of warlocks have actually encountered a monster they accidentally unleashed and must do everything they can to stop it. In Send Me a Demon, a teen has made a friend with a demon that also serves as her protector because after this being picked on at school, she decided, you know what, I need protection. I decided to name the demon Scar because, well, this is what I'm talking about. So, one half of the skull, there's a scar on one of his eyes. Anyways, on with sequels. So I decided to give two stories from my original series a sequel because I wanted to see how well I could pull it off. So in Legion of Vampires 2, a detective from the FBI is actually doing an investigation into Ream VIP, which you probably don't even know. It's actually an anagram for vampire. So check it out. VAMPIRE. Vampire. Yeah, that's right, vampire. Ream VIP is seriously an anagram for vampire. And get this, it's actually ran by vampires. In Return to Nocturnal House, Ryan and Corey are back, and this time I added two more characters named Matthew and Shelby. Now, this wasn't the only time however, I do want to say that this is the only time I'll ever do sequels for some of my original stories because it wasn't the best I ever read. It may not be good, but hey, at least that's what it is. The next one I want to present is called Timelines. Now, there's one story taking place in the past and the future, and one taking place in the future. Now, in the past, we are taken to the 1800s, in Sea Voyage, where Captain Seymour Carl and his crew encounter a monster that is lurking in the part of the ocean, possibly the part of the Atlantic Ocean to be more precise. Well, meanwhile, in the future, a space cadet of a spaceship encountered an alien. There's also one lost college student because, well, they actually do sometimes get lost. And what if they have no signal in space? I have no idea. Anyways, on with the next one, Urban Legends. Now, the two stories are actually based off urban legends that people tell. They tell so many ghost stories about either monsters or even stuff that they believed happened. Now, for this one, I have chosen the Mothman and the Chupacabra because I thought I'd do two stories of those urban legends. For Halloween night, I decided to get two stories to take place on the biggest night of the year, Halloween. Now, in the first one, there is a soda called Witch's Brew because I had the idea of what would happen if I drank soda and somehow I get transformed into a beast. That's what I thought of. Now, for two of the stories, uh, now, oh, wait, I already did urban legends. So, anyone who drinks it will be transformed into killer monsters. Now, the second one wasn't good as the first one because I didn't have time to finish it and decided, you know what? I'm turning this into a poem. Now, the poem actually tells the tale of a haunted house where trick or treaters disappeared and a bunch of teenagers who are dared to enter it. Well, I do decide what's going on, but it's not actually the best second one I've created for the last episode. But however, I did manage to see what I could do. So to be honest, I do want to say I kind of like the Witch's Brew story better. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right. Looks like we got enough Double Trouble and Chiller on Delta Street. So, one question I can ask you is, are you ready? Because we have special announcements for future episodes of Tales from the Horrorweb. So, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, here we go. Here it is. That's right. I'm doing another spin off series. How about it? This one is called Tales from the Horror Web Relics of Evil. Now, I did actually explain this in a Twitch live stream. Now, I'm going to get in more on site with what it's about. So, here we go. Now, unlike the original Tales from the Horror Web series, this series is not an anthology. That's right, not an anthology. Instead, it's actually serialized around one setting. Now, I got inspired by Hellraiser and the Friday the 13th series. Hold on, let me try this again. The series is inspired, and guess what? The series is actually inspired by the movie Hellraiser and Friday the 13th, the series, which of course doesn't star Jason. It's about a antique shop that sells cursed items. Yep, cursed items, of course. Now let's see the plot of this. I bet you want to see the plot. Ready? So, the series follows a strange shop that mysteriously appeared in a town that's just nearby. Now, a lot of people don't know about it, but inside the store, get ready to hear this. There are 5 cursed objects. Yes, 5 cursed objects. Now, people who pass by the store don't know why it's there, but it's a mystery that's going to be solved soon throughout the series. You know, it's not. I don't know what happened. Now it has a total of 5 episodes, and the premiere will be around the fall every Friday. So each of the episodes is going to tell what the object does, because either it will contain spiritual properties, cause strange and horrific effects to everyone or anyone, and would also do something that's unknown. Now, the final episode is going to be released on in Halloween of 2023 of this year, more specifically. All right, let's get on to the objects. First up, we got a typewriter that's actually kind of sinister. This is the one I sketched out right here. I mean, you can type a story with this. Here's the second one, Guitar of Demons. You know, I mean, I could probably play Metallica on this. Next up, Universal Remote. Check it out. It has a ton of buttons. I wonder if anything would happen if you press play on this or pause. You know, it can basically control everything in your home, like your TV, your stereo, your radio, or your stereo system, your laptop, your computer, or what if it controls anything? You know, it I think I'm getting Click vibes. You know, the movie Click, I've seen it before. And then there's the monster camcorder. Who's this? Hey, who's that right there? Anyways, this is really awesome because I do actually have a video camera like this one, and there's also a viewfinder rather than this one. You know, the viewfinder in case this monitor right over here, I could always use that. And what if I want to do a take on Pandora's box? Yeah, that's right, Pandora's box. I call it Forbidden Box. Now, what does it contain inside? Demons, monsters, relics from the past? Who knows? Ah, here it is. The shop owner, Nathan Levi. Now, I want to introduce you to Nathan Levi, and get this, he actually owns this store in the series. Now, he actually shops, actually, I mean, he would sell these. Now, he would sell objects to anyone, despite them being cursed, because, well, if you've been seeing the series, you probably know what I'm talking about. So now I do want to say this. Now, Nathan Levi is actually a comedic character, much like Sardo from Are You Afraid of the Dark? That's Sardo, no mister, accent on the dough. Now, he is also friendly, but that's not the case when he's not around anyone, because when no one is around, he hides a very sinister secret. But which is it? Why don't we? Well, you'll just have to figure that out once the series comes out. Can't tell you right now. And I know this may be sad news to all Cyber Phantom fans, but this is going to be the first time that Cyber Phantom won't be hosting this. Yeah, sorry everyone. I just don't I think it's time that I give Cyber Phantom a little break for a little while because well, I didn't want him to host the series too much. But don't worry, he'll be back. And while you're waiting, there's also going to be some references of some of the episodes from the main series because that I put them there just like the WVXB 27.9 FM series. You know what I'm talking about? Ah, that actually reminds me. And sadly, Cyber Phantom's not in this either. I'm introducing something new called Tales from the Horrorweb audio only series. Yeah, that's right. 13 episodes to chill your bones. And it's going to come out in 2024 to the Imagineverse Studios YouTube channel. That's right. This is Imagineverse Studios' first ever audio only project. This is really going to be awesome. And I'm going to tell you. But don't expect this to come out in 2024 because who knows what might happen. It could be released in the summer, it could be released in the fall, could be released in the wintertime or spring, whichever comes first. Oh, hey, ever heard of a spring horror TV series? Now, I know some of you may be wondering. Yes, we stopped at like 4 episodes, but the lost and fifth one is about to be made. That's right. We're actually going to get this one made, but instead of using Adobe Audition, I will use Audacity because, well, as you might remember, my desktop computer broke. Well, not sure what's going to be revealed, but expect that in the coming months. And here's more to come this year and next year. Now, here we go for this one. First up, we have the Cyber Phantom redesign. That's right. Remember the current one I showed you? I just thought I'd give him a fresh design because, well, I decided maybe I should add more details. And next up, we got the new website. That's right. I'm posting my episodes outside of DeviantArt. And it won't be just DeviantArt anymore. So get prepared for that. And then there's the Tales from the Horrorweb Fan Club Discord server. We're actually giving it some new updates. That's right, updates to the channel this year. And then we have the long-awaited Christmas special. That's right, this one focusing on a urban legend known as Krampus. You know, the demon of Christmas. Anyways, that will be it for this one. All right, you ready? And guess what? We made it through the end. Yay! All right, so that's it for the 5th anniversary special live stream of Tales from the Horrorweb. So, thank you so much for watching this stream.